Hi everybody, it's Bill Gilliland here again with this week's Business Success Basics video. And so I want to give you a review again of what I believe are the areas that we need to focus on to be successful in business. 2 weeks ago, we talked about money mastery, which being the base of it all. Then we talked about time mastery. Today, we're going to talk about team mastery. Then we're going to move to tying it all together with creating systems so the team can run the business for you. We're going to wrap it all up with probably the most important thing, which is the proper success mindset. So let's dig into team. So what happens when you get the wrong team, or you don't get this piece of the puzzle right? What happens when you miss this? Well, one, you lose control of the team. They tell you what to do, or they don't do anything at all, or you get crummy outcomes, or you have to babysit them. In other words, it's just a zoo. Well, what happens when you get it right? You actually get people that are better at doing the things in your business than you are. You actually can move the business forward. You actually can create systems that will allow for growth. So let's talk about the steps to building and keeping a winning team. The first step to building a winning team is getting the wrong people off the bus. Now, what does this take? This takes guts. This takes candor. This takes measurements, what we call key performance indicators. This takes systems that will allow you to evaluate the folks in your business so that we can create this environment where the wrong people are getting off the bus, or at least getting in the right seat. So that's number one, getting the wrong people off the bus. Number two is actually getting the right people on the bus. And what I find in this area is that most people don't have a system for hiring people in their business. So I have a couple of fundamentals of hiring that I think are important to know. Number one, slow down. Just slow everything down. We get in a hurry. We need people. We want to hire them in a hurry. And we end up hiring the wrong person. Number two, we don't decide what we want in the first place. Number three, we create a selection process as opposed to a deselection process. I liken it to fishing with one hook versus fishing with a net. If I'm fly fishing on a river, I use one thing. That's the way most of us look for employees. We throw out one lure and we expect to catch one fish. And so then we have to make a decision, is this fish big enough or not to keep? Well, what we want to create is a deselection process where we throw out a net, we bring in hundreds of fish, and we throw back the ones that we don't want to keep. Maybe some are too big, maybe some are too small, but we want to get the one that's just right. And the last thing is, don't settle for the best of a bad bunch. If it's the wrong fit, if it's not the right person to begin with, then don't hire them. Start your process over. So make sure you have a process, make sure you slow down, make sure you're very selective or deselective in your process, and make sure that you don't take the best of a bad bunch. The third key is what we call the 6 keys to building a winning team. We'll call it the 6 keys to building a winning team. So the first key to building a winning team is strong leadership. And as a business owner, that's usually going to be you or maybe a couple of members of your team. So strong leadership is where it's got to start. Not an issue with my clients because we're always working on becoming better leaders. The second thing that we want to have is a common goal. If we don't know where we're going, how can we get there? So we've got to get everyone on the same page as the common goal. Sometimes this is called a vision. of the business. So the strong leadership will start with having a good vision that everybody can be enrolled and inspired in. The third area is what we call rules of the game. Now, what's included in rules of the game? Well, it's the stuff like what time people should come in and the stuff in a normal operating manual for a business and your standard operating procedures, but it really is more about culture. What kind of culture are you creating in your business? Do you have the kind of culture that wants to have fun, or are you more serious culture? Do you have the kind of culture that communicates well? Do you have the kind of culture that works hard? Whatever it is, or what are your rules of the game? So creating a culture. The fourth area that we've got to have is we've got to have an action plan. No use having a vision if we don't have a plan on how we're going to get there. Now, what's in an action plan? Well, it's generally strategies and tactics. So strategies would be the bigger picture things. The tactics are the individual actions that we're going to take to reach our goals. Number 5, as a leader, you must support risk-taking. And I'm not talking about bungee jumping or jumping off the top of the building. I'm talking about allowing your people to make decisions for themselves. Now, you want to start slowly here. You want to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. So my suggestion is you give someone that you think has potential small decisions and see how they do. Help them understand and debrief those decisions so they'll make better decisions next time. But if they never make a decision low down, then guess who gets stuck making all the decisions? You, as the leader. And we want to push that down as far as we can. Number 6 is 100% involvement and inclusion. 100% involvement and inclusion. Now, it's up to you as the leader to include everyone on your team in what's going on. But it's up to them to be involved. So they need to understand these 6 keys to a winning team. So there you have it. You get the wrong people off the bus, you get the right people on the bus, and you start working on your 6 keys to a winning team, which include strong leadership, a common goal, rules of the game, action plan, support risk-taking, and 100% involvement and inclusion. Now, I'd like to tell you a story about a sign company I worked with, a pretty large company, about 30 employees, and we struggled with this team building issue. And what we found out was we moved people around, we reassigned them, we put them in places, and we had a particular supervisory role that we could never seem to get right. And we finally realized we just had the wrong person every time in it for 2 in a row. And once we moved that person out of the job into another job, it was amazing what happened to the rest of the team. It just blossomed, it just grew. So get the wrong people off the bus, get the right people in the right position on the bus, teach them the 6 keys to the winning team, and you'll go a long way towards building a winning team that's going to take your business to the next level. So what I'd like to know now is, what did you find most useful about all of these things in team building? I'd love to know if you just type them in down below this video and let us know what you thought and what you got out of it. It would be really helpful in us making these videos a lot better. Now, if you know you need help with your team or your time or your money, what I would recommend is just press the button below or give us a call or shoot me an email and request a 10-minute chat with me. We'll sit down. So what we'll do in that 10-minute chat is we'll figure out what's possible in your business. We'll figure out where you are now. We'll figure out the obstacles and the challenges and the opportunities that are between the two, We'll come up with a few strategies that'll help you get from where you are to where you'd like to be. At the end of that chat, we'll know whether or not it's a good fit between where you want to go and what we can do to help. If I'm not a good fit for you, or we're not a good fit for you, then I'm going to tell you that. And we're going to tell you where you can go to get some more help. If I am a good fit, what we're going to do is set up a longer strategy session. We're really going to dig in depth into what's going on in your business, and we'll come up with a little mini plan. And then it'll be up to us to decide together what the next steps would be after that. So what I'd like for you to do now is sign yourself up for that 10-minute chat. I really, really look forward to learning more about you and your business and helping you to get from wherever you are to wherever you'd like to be.